EA shut down Visceral Game Studios. Yeah. Alright guys, granted this is EA, it doesn't surprise me, but then again it's just like, of all the talented studios you had to shut down, it had to be Visceral Games. I mean, specifically almost everybody knows Visceral Games for their Dead Space series. Dead Space 1 was really good. Dead Space 2, in my opinion, I like Dead Space 2 the best. I don't know why. Dead Space 3, it was pretty good, but you can tell EA made it for the microtransactions to try to like hype it up, make it more actiony. It wasn't a bad game by all means, but definitely probably not the best in this series. Not to mention after playing through it again, it's kind of cheesy a little bit. But here, I'm going to go ahead and read a piece of the article for you guys. A link in the description is always down there, and then I'll talk about it real quick. So, the studio behind the games of Battlefield Hardline and Dead Space, the publisher said today, the Star Wars game in development at Visceral will be revamped and moved to a different studio. EA says, although it will now be something completely different. Here's what they have to say. Our Visceral studio has been developing an action-adventure title set in the Star Wars universe. EA's Patrick Soderlund, whatever, sorry, said in a blog post, in its current form it was shaping up to be a story-based linear action-adventure game, or linear adventure game. Throughout the development process we have been testing the game concept with players, listening to the feedback of what and how they want to play, and closely tracking fundamental shifts in the marketplace. It has become clear that to deliver an experience that players will come back to and enjoy for a long time to come, we needed to pivot the design. Now, okay, look, EA, what the heck? It wasn't, I guess a linear experience isn't good. I don't think that, I think when people say linear they use it in a bad way, but considering like that Amy Hennig was behind this project, she was the director for this game, I really think that this game probably would have been Uncharted meets Star Wars, like that kind of adventure. And I mean, how good, like looking at how good a Thief's End was, the Uncharted 4 game, I really think that Star Wars, this one would have been a fantastic, you know, just a fantastic take on the Star Wars universe. Just kind of have like an adventure game that's kind of Uncharted style, but you have not saying that it was going to be an Uncharted style game, but with Amy Hennig behind it, I would have loved to kind of see like what she would have brought to the table. But no, they disbanded everybody. And I know what people are probably going to be thinking. They're probably going to be saying or thinking like, oh, but don't worry, all the employees have jobs, which EA did go out and say, oh yeah, they're going to move them to different projects. But no, the point is, the team isn't going to be working together anymore. They're splitting the team apart. That's my biggest concern. Because Visceral Games they had this like charm, or they had something going for them. They didn't make the game with the best graphics or anything. Granted, I'm looking at Dead Space right now. That's the one game I'm looking at. They looked at the game and they created an atmosphere. They had a vision for a game and they did it so flawlessly. And a survival horror genre, a genre that really, if you think about it, it was more psychological horror in Dead Space. Psychological horror and image horror. Like, that's what it was. And they did it so well because every time I play Dead Space 1 and 2, I always feel so uneasy just being in there. If I turn off the lights and I just, you know, I put on my Turtle Beaches and everything, and it's just, the atmosphere just makes me feel like, oh, I don't want to be there. This is a terrible place to be. And they just nailed that type of, you know, atmosphere like just so well. And just knowing that the development team behind Dead Space is split up, that means all that charisma that, you know, the charisma they built with each other, all the, you know, the friendships, you know, kind of getting to know each other, know how this person works, know how to make these things work, together, work as a team. They're not working as a team anymore. They're split up and they're put with new people. Granted, that's not a bad thing, but the thing is, when you have a perfect team together and they make something very, very good and they make it work, not to mention making it one of the most memorable games of like last generation, you have something there and you don't want to split that team apart. And that's what EA did. So technically, EA, you're killing yourself. You just killed yourself. Another thing that like kind of gets to me a little bit is just that EA, of course, right now they say they want something that players can go back to, which My only thought is it could probably be multiplayer. I mean, a multiplayer-based game. We have a Star Wars Battlefront game, but look how bad that failed. Not to say that, you know, it's a bad game. Star Wars Battlefront is by no means a bad game, but all the microtransactions in the new Star Wars Battlefront, and then in Star Wars Battlefront 1, how they made you pay $60 for, like, what, 5 extra maps? The game released with 4? I mean, it's just... Really? Not only that, but, like, just them thinking that making it multiplayer would make it something that players would come back to. I'm not trying to bag on them, but the multiplayer has to be actually good. It actually has to be good multiplayer. That's something that people are going to have fun with, and they're going to go back to it. I mean, look at Battlefield 1. I mean, not saying that it's a bad game, not saying that not a lot of people are on there, because there are people on there, but you buy the vanilla version of Battlefield 1, nobody's playing that game. You know how long it takes me to find a game on both PlayStation and Xbox One? It's terrible, because you divided the fan base. No one's going to go back to that. Let's look at Halo 3. Halo 3, granted, yeah, we'll look at the better version, or the better Halo, I guess, that people, you know, in their eyes it is. But anyways, Halo 3, it was released in 2007, but still, years and years and years went by, and people still would go back to Halo 3 for what? It was community driven, it had custom games, it had like all these other game modes, it was really driven, and Bungie really, they serviced that game really well, making great maps, working on them, just night and day, making sure that these maps were as best as they could be, even adding in a forge mode. That is a game that is community driven, that's something that people will want to go back and play. That is one of the games that people still, they go back and play. Why do you think Xbox made it like a backwards compatible game? People are going to go back and play Halo 3. Original Halo 3, not Master Chief Collection Halo 3. They're going to go back and play Halo 3. That is why, like, it's community driven. People are going to go play that game. And not only that, it's really memorable with the story, the characters, you know, just the multiplayer. Everything about that game is memorable. Now, I'm going to talk about Star Wars Battlefront. Really, be honest, guys. If you're having fun with Star Wars Battlefront, that's cool. But the first Star Wars Battlefront, the one that was made by EA, so Star Wars Battlefront EA, not very memorable. Why? Because when it was released, you got the vanilla version. You had Hoth, which was awesome. No Death Star. Like, it's like it was released with 4 maps. What are you gonna play? You're gonna play Endor, Hoth, and then I think the Battle Jakku was there too. And it was just kind of like you felt restricted. You played the maps, you saw them all. Like that was it. And it was just like, okay, on to the next thing. Then you heard, oh yeah, the season pass is out for $50. I'm not paying $50 for another half of a game that should be there. Not to mention how Star Wars Battlefront 1 for the PS2 and Xbox, they had every planet mentioned in like the Star Wars universe in there, and then they had a bunch of game modes. Granted, they've probably been more the same thing, but a lot of people have more memories. People who grew up with the PlayStation and Xbox, or like who were around at that era, you guys remember how good and how awesome it was just to have your own battles in Star Wars Battlefront. Battlefront EA, yeah, it created the atmosphere. It looked pretty, but in the end, it really just wasn't. It wasn't what you would expect from a Star Wars Battlefront game. And then it was a Star Wars Battlefront EA nonetheless. But that's what I'm talking about. So EA, if you're talking about making another multiplayer Star Wars game, it better be something that's just like way better than that. Because I'm telling you, people jumped off the Battlefield 1 game already from the vanilla version. Battlefield 4, it's still driving pretty good. But I mean, and then Star Wars Battlefront, like I said, it's kind of hard to find a game in the vanilla state. If you have the season pass, they released it for free, but still people are just... There are people jumping off ship because of Star Wars Battlefront 2 because of the microtransactions, and that's not good. And if you think that destroying this linear experience is gonna make it more memorable, I don't think so. I mean, look at The Last of Us. It's super linear, but look how memorable it is. The multiplayer was pretty cool, but everyone remembers it for its story. You had Amy Hennig behind the new Star Wars game, and you're telling me that she couldn't create an experience or a story that was just as good in the Star Wars universe to be memorable? Like, you're telling me that she couldn't create something memorable? I just don't buy it. Like, if you're gonna go for a multiplayer aspect, which I know you are, there's gonna be more. There's gonna be more microtransactions. There's gonna be more of this. There's gonna be more EA bullcrap. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, I'm not buying it. I'm not. Granted, I'm a Star Wars fan, but when I heard that Star Wars Battlefront 2 had all these microtransactions, the way to level up, I'm not buying it. It looks cool, yeah, Clone Wars look cool in HD, but I'm just not buying it. If someone buys it for me, fine, I'll play it. But I'm not buying that. I'm not buying a future Star Wars game that you release if it has a microtransaction or like another multiplayer thing. It's just not something I'm gonna support you guys in. If you guys want to go and do your own thing, other people support you, fine. But me personally, I'm not gonna support it, especially when you destroyed one of the better companies, or like, you know, not companies, but little development teams inside your studio, and disbanded them and separated them. Something that worked so well. It's just, I can't support you in that. So I'm sorry, but if you release a Dead Space trilogy in HD or something, or you're gonna do it in, like, whatever, I'm not buying it. Dead Space 4, if it happens, I highly doubt it, but really it kind of pissed me off with that cliffhanger ending, or like just do a reboot or something. But if it is, it's not gonna be Visceral Game Studios. It's not gonna be the same developers, and it just sucks to see, you know, such great talent in the gaming industry just go. But anyways, that's really all I have to say. I mean, what are y'all's thoughts? I'm a little late on this news video, but hey, had to work, you know. That's how it works. Yep, didn't have time, and I'm a little sick too. So, anyways, thank you guys for watching. And remember, guys, like this video, upvote if you're watching on Vidme, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, guys, when you guys are gaming, power up.